Well, folks, it's time to roll up the red carpet and put the dwarfs away. The Walt Disney Company is making major changes to the way that they are premiering Snow White, and it's all because they have terrible fright of Rachel Zegler. We have never seen the lengths to which Bob Iger and the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse are going to prevent Zegler from screwing up Snow White even more. You won't believe it, but we'll tell you what's happening right now. Hello, folks. It is a dandy of a day, and we're happy that you have come our way. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. Folks, as we get underway, we only ask that you click the like button, and we would encourage you, if you like this kind of content, consider going over to the Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. All right, folks, we'll tell you what's going on with Snow White. It's unbelievable. Truly, we mean it. It is the most extreme reaction and action taken we've ever seen from any company to maintain and control an actress. You won't believe it. Click the like button. Here we go. The article says Disney scales back Snow White U.S. premiere. No traditional red carpet media interviews allowed. All right, let's see what we've got here. With just days to go before the release of its live-action Snow White remake, Disney is drastically reducing its usual Hollywood premiere spectacle. The studio is still hosting an event on March 15th at the El Capitan Theater, but it won't include the extensive red carpet and media presence typically associated with a major Disney release. Instead, only photographers and a house crew will be allowed to cover the event.
Wow.
With no traditional press interviews taking place.
Boom.
Wow.
They are scared. This, by the way, was confirmed by Variety. Even Variety is calling this out now. That's how you know how, like you cannot no longer deny the fact that Disney is hiding this movie from the press, that they're hiding Rachel Zegler from the press.
I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this kind of censorship. I mean, folks, let me explain what this is. Usually at a movie premiere, you have the creators, the artists, the directors, you've got the producers, you've got the bigwigs, the C-suiters, you've got friends, family, other celebrities. They walk the carpet. You've got the people in costumes. You've got journalists out there with their microphones. You've got the influencers. It's a big to-do. As of right now, Marvin and That Park Place are reporting that all of that is out. And instead, they're going to march selected people down the carpet into the theater, and the only people who will be there to have anything to do with this will be a few people with cameras and a house crew. What is a house crew? Well, a house crew means that Disney's going to select some people that kind of look like that other stuff, but it's a house crew. It's the company brought them in. It's like if you've ever read about a funeral where people hired mourners, right? That's what this is like. Disney is going to bring in their own people to cover this and make it look like it's a real thing when it's not. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of this.
It's like when at live events pay seat fillers to come in and act like fans.
Yeah, this is bonkers. All right, Marvin, tell us. I don't want to go through the entire article. Tell us what else there is to this. Any additional information we need to know?
I mean, that's really kind of the long and short of it. Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler will be at the premiere. Nobody's allowed to ask them questions. There's going to be no media interviews. They are determined to keep Rachel Zegler away from the press. Now, Gal Gadot has appeared on Good Morning America, I believe just yesterday. So she is starting to do the talk show circuit, but Rachel Zegler has been limited to tightly controlled and heavily edited featurettes that Disney now puts on social media. Like there was that one, where they dropped her into the middle of Japan and just kind of had her go wild over there, and followed her around with a camera and very tightly edited everything that was going on over there. Or they'll have her acoustically sing Waiting on a Wish with the guitar player. They are very much keeping her to these controlled featurettes that are going to just go on social media. They don't appear to be doing a press junket. We have not seen, for example, her and Gal Gadot like sitting in the little director's chairs in the room, with the movie poster behind them as the press cycles in and out. I don't think you're going to get that. I still think that you might get her on like Kimmel or Colbert or something like that, like a very friendly outlet that will just, it'll be Kimmel for sure.
Everything prefabbed. Everything.
Yeah.
Every question known, every answer.
Fully rehearsed, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they will not risk her being in front of anyone that they do not directly control.
Any chance that they're also terrified of Gal Gadot actually saying what she thinks in defiantly? You know, if Zegler.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I think that speech that Gal Gadot gave, I think they're terrified that she'll just say the truth. By the way, at the same time this is happening, we've talked about this in the past, that we are in a Disney nightmare quarter. And people have said, well, Pro, you're always ragging on Disney. You always say things are about to fall apart. This is the quarter, folks, that I've told you, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but this is the quarter I told you. This is the bad one. This is where the comeuppance happens. We're watching this play out with Zegler. Folks, we're also watching this. The Disney stock is dropping significantly. I know that it's not necessarily easy times right now for a lot of companies out there, but this is also newsworthy, is that Disney now is back under that 100 mark, and it could not happen at a worse time for Disney because they're coming up on their big shareholders meeting. So we don't know where this is going to go, where it's going to stay, but you got to start to think. We've talked about this in the past. The streaming side of things has collapsed, even though they're trying to pretend it hasn't. The box office is bombing. The parks, this Epic Universe thing, and Zegler's not helping. Like in the past, they could have covered that over, but culture now, where they are, Zegler amplifies it. Zegler, your thoughts?
No, she doesn't help at all. I mean, and she is doing an event. She's having a special private screening for the Broadway kids of Snow White. That's what she's hosting.
All
just
12
so you know,
of them.
they're keeping them miles away. You're miles away from any of this. But, on the Zegler side of the equation, she doesn't, I think Marvin said it the best. She doesn't know how to control herself. She gets in front of press and she loses all of the media training that they've been trying to instill in her. And I think they're just terrified of having her speak. But I want to bring up something else because you were on a roll, Pro. The thing that you forgot, and I dropped a video on this morning and I kind of gave Marvin a heads up on it. ESPN is kicking their butt. The cash cow that is ESPN is not helping either. And I know we're
the NBA. That's a real sweet deal. That NBA, isn't it? Culture.
No, it's a bad direction for them. They're on the cusp of losing the UFC, and that's a great story that was written yesterday by Marvin the Movie Monster in the VIP Pro section, the VIP section of that Park Place. But you add to that the fact that just paid Stephen A. Smith $100 million. ESPN is a giant sinkhole. And it's the worst optics that they could ever imagine. And they're constantly trending downward at the tune of about 6% and even more. If you think about last year, ESPN had 84 million subscribers. Now they're down to 70 million subscribers a year later. You understand the trend here is not good. So ESPN, which was a cash cow for Disney, isn't going to be as much if they don't have, well, what are they losing? Baseball. Baseball's gone. They're paying $100 million to Stephen A. Smith over the next 5 years. They kicked out 30 plus pieces of talent over the last 2. And they are diving into politics. They are no longer analysis and breakdowns of games. They focus on politics and politically oriented things in sports. They got problems, bro. But that's the other problem. I mean, I would say Zegler's a product of the toxic environment that is Disney, because she's been empowered to say and do these things. She's been encouraged throughout her young career, which I think is over after this movie, to be this kind of a toxic person. And she doesn't have trouble with it. And again, this article looks amazing. I can't wait to read it.
It's I think I said so I did a video on the Snow White stuff this morning over on Tuningtown TV, and what I said in that video was they view her as she is a combustible element. She is nitroglycerin in human form. They cannot put her in front of anyone that might ignite her, because she will blow up and take the rest of this movie with her. I've never seen this with an actor before, where it's just like literally they hide them from the press.
Well, let's put this into perspective for folks out there.
Except for Justin Baldoni, but that was a very different issue.
Let's put this into perspective, though, for a moment. What this means is, I want people to understand how badly they must view Rachel Zegler. What this means is they don't even trust that they could put a publicist or two with her to shepherd her, to pinch her behind, on the back if she starts to say something that she can't say. They don't even trust her to be what would you say? She can't be babysat.
Well, a lighter version of this.
Hiring people to pretend to be interviewers there.
Right. A lighter version of this would be watching Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland together when Tom Holland is being watched so he won't say anything he shouldn't say about what's going on with a Marvel movie. They don't have that with this film because they've only advertised it as Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. And neither of those two people appear to want to talk to each other. So there's no incentive for Gal Gadot to stop her from saying something horrible because it's sometimes said, don't interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake. And I have a feeling based on Gal Gadot's comments that she's not worried about Rachel Zegler's career very much at this point.
No. Well, there's nothing to worry about because I don't think she has a career after this. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to chime in with another perspective. Some thoughts that I have going on during the conversation is that we might be at a point in the Gina Carano lawsuit where anything that Rachel Zegler says at this point in time that's negative can hurt Disney's case. It's just, and it may or may not. I could be completely wrong. Like I said, I don't know anything about the law, but she's clearly toxic. They clearly had no clue who she was when they cast her. It was a long time ago. We have to remember the comments that she made that everybody talks about were made all the way back in 2022, and they've caught fire and they've gotten worse and worse. And then, of course, during the strike, she made those awful comments about, "Oh, I'm standing around in a pretty dress for 18 hours. I need to get paid for every minute of streaming." I mean, she has no clue. It's clear that she was never properly taught any type of etiquette before she was thrust into stardom from her YouTube days. This is so bad for Disney, especially this property. Think about it. I would be somebody as a Disney fan who would have wanted so badly to cheer for this movie, this live action Snow White, to be a great thing. Like, I really, really would have wanted it to. It's sad to me that they just didn't pull this completely, recast, redo it. Because I would have loved to have had a live action Snow White that is a good live action Snow White. And I'm so worried. There's so many different things about this too. Like, it just blows my mind. The marketing lately has been, oh, this is going to be like the cartoon, but there's so many problems with that because if it's not, and people go see it, they're going to talk bad about it. If it is, then Rachel Zegler is going to talk bad about it. I mean, this whole thing is like, this is the craziest story of any movie that I've ever seen. And Disney began with Snow White. Disney could very well end with Snow White. That's crazy.
By the way, the reason that I'm showing this as Ron is speaking is because of the irony. This is Rachel Zegler at a premiere for Snow White in Japan, where she can't speak Japanese. So they were confident that they could put her out there where she can't speak, but it looks like she can speak. This is,
to be fair, Pro, I think in Japan they call it Snow White adjacent.
I mean, I'd be surprised if she could say konnichiwa. This is an amazing level of distrust in an actress, in a star, and her star is done. Panel, any final thoughts on this breaking news that Disney is essentially, and who knows, maybe this crowd in Japan was all paid for as well. I don't know. This is a level of helicopter parenting an actress that I've never seen before.
I simply want this to not reflect badly back on Gal Gadot, because I think that she probably knocks it out of the park in her role as the evil queen. It looks to me, from what I can tell, like she looks the part of the evil queen. She's dressed right. And like I said, this should have not happened with Snow White, not this property. This should have not happened with Snow White. 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 Not this property. This should have not happened with Snow White. Not this property. I hope it doesn't taint people's feelings for the original, because the original is a classic. I rewatched it recently, and I'm going to rewatch it again on the day that this atrocity comes out, because that's what I want people to clamor onto and love, is the Disney under Walt animated classic Snow White, because that's the way fairy tales should be told.
One thing that I think kind of helps Packing Protons theory that it might be actually even lower, it might be a $45 million opening, is I think what you're going to see now is, because you have Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, and they are on opposing sides of that international conflict, you have calls from both sides of that conflict, and those who support both sides calling for boycotts. So it's kind of a double whammy.
I feel bad because I originally predicted this would make $67 million in its domestic box office opening. And I missed the Captain America Brave New World by like 10 million. I was pretty darn close. This one, I'm thinking I might be above where I need to be. I think, like in Price is Right, I may have bid too high. The closer we get, the worse it gets. And Disney is now determined to hide Rachel Zegler, and perhaps when this is all over, when it's said and done, this is going to be like the Lone Ranger. This is going to be like John Carter. They want to sweep this under the rug as fast as they can. We are at Black Cauldron levels of bad. We really hope that you felt this video was satisfactual. We know we had an actual good time participating and communicating with each and every one of you out there listening. It is a great honor. It is a great pleasure, even a responsibility to do this on a daily basis. You give us the dream job we love doing, and for that we can never say thank you enough. There's only one small favor we ask beyond what has already been done, and that is, folks, consider it. That is clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those pesky algorithms. It's the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts, because your thoughts do indeed matter, no matter what the mainstream media would otherwise say. Folks, as we say every single time we end these videos, because we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.